The royal family, usually the epitome of unity and tradition, found itself engulfed in an undercurrent of tension that has been bubbling for months, but which came to a boiling point during King Charles III's coronation. According to royal biographer Tom Bower, the fractures that have been quietly forming within the family are now becoming impossible to ignore. And at the center of the storm are two women whose rivalry, previously veiled behind polite smiles and carefully constructed public appearances, has now erupted into a full-blown crisis. Queen Camilla and Princess Catherine, once thought to have a respectful relationship, have become embroiled in a battle over recognition, loyalty, and respect, a conflict that threatens to divide the royal household at its very core. The tension surrounding the coronation was not limited to the public spectacle. It was felt most keenly in the inner circles of the royal family. The source of the drama, according to insider reports, was an issue with the guest list, a minor detail, perhaps, but one that had profound implications for the delicate balance of power within the monarchy. Queen Camilla allegedly invited 20 members of her own Parker Bowles family, while only 4 members of the Middleton family were granted the honor of attending. To the keen observers who were present at the coronation, this disparity in representation sent a message that could not be ignored. Camilla's family was being prioritized, while Catherine's family was relegated to the sidelines. Though the coronation was meant to be a joyous occasion, a moment to celebrate the beginning of King Charles's reign, there was an undeniable undercurrent of discord that was felt by those in the royal box. When King Charles and Queen Camilla exited Westminster Abbey, the atmosphere was one of subdued formality. The congregation dutifully bowed and curtsied to the newly crowned king, but when Queen Camilla passed by, not a single person moved. Not a single curtsy, not a single bow. The slight was so palpable that even the most loyal subjects could feel the shift in the air. This was no mere coincidence. It was a carefully orchestrated act of defiance, a silent protest against the queen consort. The lack of respect shown to Camilla, so stark and conspicuous, had not gone unnoticed. Among the crowd, one figure stood out, the Prince of Wales, whose visible restraint, his stiff posture and tight-lipped expression, spoke volumes. He had witnessed the growing rift between his wife and the Queen, and the strain was evident on his face. For the first time, it seemed, the royal family's unity was being publicly questioned. The tension reached a boiling point when Princess Catherine, unable to contain her frustrations any longer, demanded a private meeting with Queen Camilla. Behind the closed doors of Buckingham Palace, far away from the prying eyes of the press, the two women prepared to face each other. Catherine, poised and determined, entered the room with the quiet confidence of someone who knew the stakes. Camilla, seated with her usual regal composure, met her gaze with a cool and calculated air. Both women were aware that this confrontation could change the trajectory of their relationship, and perhaps the future of the monarchy itself. "I do not wish to cause discord, Your Majesty," Catherine began, her voice steady but laced with a hint of underlying anger. "But I cannot ignore the obvious slight. My family, William's family, deserved to be there in equal measure. The coronation was not just a personal milestone for you and His Majesty. It was a moment for the entire royal household. Yet the Middletons were treated as if they were outsiders." Queen Camilla's face remained impassive, her eyes betraying nothing. Yet those who knew her well could see the flicker of frustration in her gaze. She set down her teacup with a controlled motion, the sound of porcelain meeting porcelain echoing in the otherwise quiet room. "Catherine," she said, her voice calm, but with an edge of authority. "You must understand, this is about more than family ties. It's about tradition, about maintaining the royal order. The Parker Bowles family has stood by me through every trial, every hardship. They have been there for me when others faltered." Catherine's expression remained unchanged, her resolve hardening with every word. "And you think my family, who have stood by William and me, who have been unwavering in their loyalty, deserved to be excluded? Our support was not only instrumental to your success, it was a cornerstone in the monarchy's transition. The words hung in the air, heavy with accusation. The room seemed to close in around them as the tension thickened. Camilla's lips pressed into a thin line as she considered Katherine's words, but instead of giving an inch, she pressed forward, her voice unwavering. The guest list was not made on the basis of personal affection or favoritism. It was about ensuring that those who have played a key role in the stability of the monarchy were recognized. The Middletons, while certainly supportive, have not had the same influence on the monarchy's survival and evolution. Katherine's patience began to wear thin. And the Parker Bowles family has been so pivotal to the monarchy's survival, she asked, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Are you suggesting that their presence at the coronation was more important than the Middleton family, who have been steadfast in their loyalty and support? Queen Camilla stiffened at the challenge, her gaze becoming steely and resolute. I am suggesting that the monarchy is not a popularity contest, Katherine. It is about duty, loyalty, and sacrifice. The Parker Bowles family has been a part of my journey, and their presence was essential in representing that legacy. Katherine's expression softened, but only slightly. And what of the legacy of William's family? What of my family? We have supported the crown just as loyally, and yet we were sidelined in favor of others. That cannot simply be overlooked. For a long moment, neither woman spoke, the silence thick with unresolved emotions. It was clear that there was more at play than just a guest list. This was a battle for respect, for recognition, and for the future of the royal family itself. Camilla's shoulders drooped slightly, as though the weight of the conversation had finally caught up with her. I understand your disappointment, Katherine, she said, her voice softer now. But I cannot change the past. What I can do, however, is work with you to ensure that we move forward together, united. Katherine took a deep breath, her voice tinged with frustration, but also a sense of resolve. Unity, Your Majesty, cannot be achieved through empty words. It must be earned. It must be based on fairness, on respect. And if we are to work together, we must ensure that no one is left behind. Not the Middletons, not anyone. Camilla's expression softened, a flicker of understanding crossing her face. You are right, of course, she said quietly. The monarchy must evolve, and with that evolution must come fairness and respect for all who contribute to it. Perhaps I misjudged the situation, and for that, I apologize. The apology was not easy for Camilla, and it was not lost on Katherine. She nodded, accepting the gesture with a quiet grace, though the underlying tensions between them were far from resolved. I appreciate your words, Your Majesty, Katherine replied, her voice measured. But we must ensure that this is not just about words. It must be reflected in our actions, actions that show respect for all those who support this family, not just those who are closest to the throne. As Katherine turned to leave, Camilla's voice rang out once more, softer this time, almost wistful. I have fought for my place in this family, Katherine. But I hope, truly, that we can find a way to move forward together. Katherine paused at the door, her hand resting on the handle. She turned, her eyes meeting Camilla's with a newfound understanding. So do I, Your Majesty. But let us make sure that moving forward, fairness and respect are not just words, but the foundation of everything we do. And with that, the confrontation ended, not with grand gestures or dramatic declarations, but with a quiet, mutual understanding that the path ahead would not be easy. The cracks that had appeared in the royal family's carefully crafted facade had been exposed, and though the two women had reached a temporary truce, the underlying tensions between them would not be easily forgotten. As the royal family moves forward, they will have to confront not just the shifting dynamics of their personal relationships, but the deep-rooted issues that threaten the monarchy's very foundation. The coronation was supposed to symbolize the unity of a new reign, but it may have inadvertently marked the beginning of a new chapter in the royal family's long and complicated history, a chapter where power, respect, and loyalty are no longer taken for granted, and where the future of the monarchy itself is up for debate.